Looking at this dense, misty canopy, you're seeing the Rampa region of Andhra, a massive stretch of isolated terrain deeply tied to its people. This photograph captures the Adivasis, the indigenous tribal and forest-dwelling people of the area, gathered in the very woods that sustained them. For generations, they lived completely integrated with this environment, relying on the land to survive. But that isolation didn't last. British-backed colonial authorities eventually pushed their way into the region. These local officials began aggressively exploiting the tribes. They enforced a network of strict new laws that effectively stripped the Adivasis of the rights they had held over their ancestral forests for centuries. By targeting the very survival of the tribes, the administration turned the Rampa region into a pressure cooker, where the people were left with a stark choice: accept the loss of their heritage or fight to reclaim it. That pushback found its leader in Alluri Sitarama Raju. He watched the systematic abuse by corrupt officials and made the choice to intervene. Raju wasn't driven by broad political ambitions. His goal was highly specific: to protect the immediate interests and welfare of the local forest communities. He spent his time moving between scattered tribal groups, building trust, and organizing them to stand against the authorities. Unlike the rigid, extractive colonial bureaucracy that issued orders from afar, Raju built his influence on the ground, living directly among the people he sought to defend. His leadership acted as the catalyst, pulling these isolated groups together into a single, formidable resistance. The friction finally ignited into outright conflict in 1922, officially starting the Rampa Rebellion. Look at the Adivasi women in this photograph. It highlights the deeply local, cultural demographic of the rebellion. Raju successfully united these diverse indigenous forest dwellers into a highly motivated fighting force. At first, the resistance held a severe tactical advantage. The rebels knew every inch of the dense Rampa terrain, allowing them to easily outmaneuver the corrupt local police. As traditional police forces repeatedly failed to contain Raju's fast-moving guerrilla strikes, panic began to spread through the regional British administration. What started as a localized dispute over who could use the forest had rapidly escalated into a direct, armed challenge against British rule in India. Realizing they were outmatched in the jungle, the British abandoned their reliance on standard local authorities and called in heavy reinforcements. This image captures the severity of their response. These uniformed men represent the Malabar Special Police, a specialized, highly militarized unit dispatched strictly to hunt down the Rampa rebels. With the arrival of this special force, the state's tactics became brutally direct, placing a specific target squarely on Alluri Sitarama Raju's life. Mobilizing an elite military police force proves the colonial administration viewed Raju's rebellion as a direct challenge to their regional stability. The rebellion ground on for a grueling 2 years. Over time, the sheer, overwhelming resources and manpower of the colonial state began to wear the indigenous resistance down. The standoff reached its climax in 1924, when Alluri Sitarama Raju was ultimately captured by the British and shot dead. But his execution didn't erase his impact. Raju's fierce defense of the forest communities cemented the Rampa Rebellion as an unforgettable piece of the broader Indian national movement. If you're prepping for the TNPSC Group 4 exam, here's the rapid-fire breakdown of the exact facts you need to know about this event. The rebellion spanned 1922 to 1924 in Andhra's Rampa region. Ultimately, the British deployed the Malabar Special Police, leading to Raju's death in 1924. Memorize those dates and names for the test, but remember that behind the multiple-choice questions is a real history of indigenous people fighting for their homes.